We're trusting AI with more and more of our lives. But what happens when that trust is, well, totally blind? Today, we're going to dive into a system called Codatta that's trying to solve one of AI's biggest, most fundamental problems, proving why it makes the decisions it does.
Just picture this for a second. An algorithm makes a decision that could change your life. Your loan application? Denied. A medical scan gets flagged for a really serious illness. Or maybe you're tagged as a security risk at the airport. And when you ask the one question that matters most, why, the system just gives you silence.
Well, that silence, that's the reality for a lot of AI systems right now. We get the final answer, the decision, but all the reasoning that went into it is locked up inside what everyone calls the black box. We can't audit it, we can't question it, and frankly, we can't fully trust it.
And that right there brings us to our first big idea, what we can call the justification crisis. This isn't just some little technical glitch. It's a massive problem that goes to the very heart of how we're supposed to build AI into our society.
This slide lays out the core problem perfectly. On one side, you've got generation. AI is amazing at this. It can create beautiful art, write incredible code, and make really complex predictions. But on the other side, you've got justification. The internal logic is a complete mystery. It can give us the answer, but it can't show its work. And let's be super clear, this is not some academic thought experiment. In really high-stakes fields like these, healthcare, justice, finance, autonomous cars, a lack of transparency is downright dangerous. I mean, how can a doctor trust a diagnosis or a judge trust a risk assessment if there's no clear, auditable trail of logic to back it up?
But what if we could actually build that trail? That's what brings us to our next section, unlocking the black box. And we're going to do it by introducing a solution called Codatta, which is designed to be a backbone for what it calls verified reasoning. Okay, so the big idea here is a total shift in approach. Instead of trying to explain a decision after the AI has already made it, Codatta builds the explanation into the process right from the very start. It's all about embedding two key concepts: data provenance, which is just a fancy way of saying knowing where your data comes from, and human consensus right into the AI's core workflow.
So that sounds great in theory, right? But how does Codatta actually pull this off? Well, in this next section, we're going to break down the anatomy of its verified reasoning system.
Codatta's approach really comes down to three connected layers that all work together to build trust. It starts with traceable data. Then it adds a layer of human-validated confidence scores. And all of that produces a final, clear justification. So let's break them down one by one. First up, data lineage. The easiest way to think about this is like a permanent, unchangeable passport for every single piece of data the AI ever looks at. This record shows exactly who created it, when they created it, and what rules were used to check if it was valid. So if an AI makes a call, you can follow the breadcrumbs all the way back to the exact sources that led it there. Okay, next up is confidence scoring. This is what gets the AI away from just giving a simple yes or no answer. By having multiple human experts actually validate the data, the system can assign a confidence score. If all the experts agree, you get high confidence. If they disagree, that signals uncertainty. The AI then inherits all that nuance, so its answers aren't presented with this false sense of certainty. So you take those first two layers, you put them together, and what you get is the final output, a chain of thought justification. And this quote here says it all. Instead of a monolithic prediction, users receive a reasoning trail. I mean, the AI is literally showing its work step by step, linking every single conclusion back to the verified data and those confidence scores.
So that's the theory. It all sounds pretty amazing. But what does this actually look like in the real world? In this section, let's explore what audible AI looks like in action.
In healthcare, for instance, an AI diagnosing a condition could now point to the specific peer-reviewed studies and the exact clinical trial data it used to come to its conclusion. If a doctor has a question, they can go and review the evidence trail themselves.
Or think about finance. Suddenly, every single decision, from a loan approval to a fraud alert, becomes completely auditable. Regulators could come in and inspect not just the data, but the logic to make sure the system is fair and compliant.
And for the justice system? Wow, this could be a game changer. Those algorithms that assess the risk of a person reoffending have been slammed for having hidden biases. With a system like this, every single factor that goes into that score would be traceable, which allows for a real audit to find and fix that bias.
And then you've got things like self-driving cars, where this is just absolutely crucial for safety. The car could log the reasoning for every single move it makes, which sensor input it prioritized, which safety rule it followed, creating this priceless record for investigating accidents and making the whole system better.
So when you step back and look at all these examples, you start to realize this is about way more than just a technical fix. And that brings us to our final section, this big philosophical shift that takes AI from being an oracle and turns it into a real partner.
You know, at the end of the day, this isn't just about making AI explain itself. It's about making it legitimate. It's about using things like verifiable data and justification chains to build a real bridge of trust. Because when a system can back up its conclusions with a transparent trail, we can check it, we can hold it accountable, and we can make it better.
I think this quote from the source material just nails it. We are moving away from this idea of AI as some mysterious oracle that just hands down answers from on high. Instead, we're building it into a reasoning partner, something that can actually work with us, show its homework, and have a real dialogue.
And that really brings everything full circle back to the core idea of this whole explainer. For years, the big focus in AI was just on getting better and better answers. But the true frontier, the real challenge for building intelligence we can actually depend on, isn't generation, it's justification.
Which leaves us with a really fascinating thought to chew on. For so long, the big question has been, how can we get our AI to tell us why? But if systems like Codatta actually succeed, the question is going to flip. It'll become, now that our machines can finally explain themselves, what new, bigger, and more profound questions will we choose to ask?